What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 159, and today we are going to crown the 2024 Bigs Champion. Here with me at my side, as we are having some technical difficulties in Bigs HQ, Ben Nisman. Benny, what do you have to say on the 2024 season before we dive into crowning this champion?
Well, I said before the season started that this would be the most important season for all of us, not just because it's the 20th season, but also that this is the best group of managers we've ever had assembled. So whoever was going to win it this year would arguably be the most legitimate champion we've ever had. And it was a hell of a year, and it was just amazing to watch it all come to fruition from the draft, week 1, all the way to week 22, and deciding who the top 6 were. A really interesting quarterfinal, an amazing semifinal, and then the final. We could probably say might be the best final of all time. We have a ton to get into as far as how that all unfolded.
No doubt. It was an unbelievable final. We will dive into it here shortly. The man who did the research for this final is right here with us from Denver, Colorado, Jason Ashby. Jason, how you doing this evening, my friend?
Fantastic, Joe. And yeah, echoing everything that Ben just said about the season and about the league as a whole is absolutely correct. Like, this is the best group of managers I think we've had that I can remember, and anybody could have won this thing. There were no cupcake matchups. It was just everything was a dogfight from week 1 all the way to the end. So looking forward to seeing what next year brings, but this is definitely one for the memory books.
One for the ages, one for the record book, and one man stood at the top of the heap at the end of this season. He is the new 2024 Bigs champion, and he joins us tonight. His name is Josh Haber. Josh, how you feeling 3 weeks after winning this championship?
Oh man, it's been a ride for sure. The end of the season here with our Mets, everything we've kind of gone through feels like it was forever ago. But that being said, couldn't be happier to have, finally put my name on the trophy. And like you all said, this is just an incredible group of managers. Every week was a dogfight. There was absolutely no easy matchup. Everyone was just digging and clawing for those stats every week, in and out, and couldn't be happier. Looking forward to next year, and also wanted to just thank you guys for the production of this podcast. And I'm usually the audience member, and and I do drive for work, so this is much appreciated. Consistent entertainment for me. So I really appreciate all the hard work that goes into it. And
yeah,
so
we appreciate you too, man. And it's really amazing that you decided to finally make an appearance on the podcast. It's long overdue, but damn appropriate. So let me ask you first, just as obviously you've had some time to kind of let it sink in. Was there a point during the season, or maybe during the playoff, where there was a certain confidence, or even like concern, being like, yeah, this team can do it, or like, nah, it's not going to happen? Was there anything that kind of swayed you in one direction or the other?
No, man, there was no point. I had some kind of magical Sunday juju this year, which I don't know where it came from. The Mets maybe had some of it too. Um, I had a lot of really tight matchups that Saturday was not looking so great for me, and I was able to pull something off on Sunday, and a couple of those strung together was just like, oh my god, I did it again. Like, this was 12-6 yesterday, and now I won 10-9 or 11-8, and so no, there was never like I'm going to coast through this. Not even in the middle of the season, when I was pretty confident that I was going to make the playoffs. But man, it was fun. It was fun.
The thing about crazy Sunday comebacks is that when they happen in the finals, they turn what would ordinarily be an incredible matchup to a legendary matchup. And I think that's exactly what happened here this week. Let's dive into this thing. It is a 12-8 victory for Josh Haber here. However, going into Sunday, looks like it was 12-8 in Jay's favor. So we get 4 flips of categories on a Sunday. It's walks, it's innings pitched, it's strikeouts, and it's ERA to complete that incredible comeback. Close categories this week. Jay wins by 2 home runs by a pitcher. Josh, you win by 3 homers by a batter, 2 RBIs, a walk by a hitter, 5 innings, 2 losses, 2 saves, and 4 strikeouts by a pitcher. Some of those coming on Sunday, and you guys tied in errors. On Sunday, Josh, your team 13 innings, a win, a save, a home run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, an 0.69 nice ERA, and a 1 whip with 3 relief appearances. To Jay's 2 innings, walk, 3 strikeouts, a 9 and a 1 with 3 relief appearances. On the bench this week, Benjamin, Jay Ferraro goes 4 for 12.
Okay. So a 333 on the bench.
Correct. With a run, a double, 3 RBIs, a walk, and a strikeout. The walk is what plays here offensively, as he did lose that category by 1. But the more interesting thing that I think we need to talk about here is the benching of some of the starting pitchers that have gotten him to the dance.
Yep.
Bryce Miller on Monday against Houston, he benches and gets a nice win out of 7 shutout.
Yep. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts.
And on Sunday, he benches a bad start from Bailey Ober, but I think it was 5 2/3 there. And Logan Gilbert was a 5-inning shutout performance, if I remember correctly.
Those 5 2/3 for a win, no walks, no home runs, 7 strikeouts, a .18 whip.
Yeah. He gave up 1 hit in that scenario.
Yeah, 10 2/3.
And that's the question. He obviously could flip the innings there. He could flip the strikeouts with that start. But the question is, would ERA have been the start? Because Josh did have the tiebreaker.
Right.
So he needed to flip 3 in order to win this thing.
Okay, so why don't let's dig into that immediately, because Josh, at that point, you have 2 ads left. Jay is done. He's out of ads after Saturday. You had the advantage of watching and seeing what Jay was going to do, because not all the games started exactly at the same time on Sunday, did they, Josh?
No, we had a couple of 230s and a couple of 240s, if I'm something like that, maybe 210, 220. And I was just waiting out to see what was going to happen with Logan Gilbert, who, interestingly enough, I dropped on Tuesday because Yahoo said that he was done for the year. So that's another whole thing. But it didn't matter. I didn't get in on Sunday, and waited until I thought he was going to play them both, to be honest with you. And I had a backup plan for if he did. Waited until that 2:30 game started, and then made my move, picked up those last 2 pitchers. Figured my best chance of flipping was innings and strikeouts, and then got lucky. Not great pitchers to stream, but I had the time advantage, I think.
Yeah, that was a big part of it. Obviously, the ads, you had an advantage. You could make 2. He couldn't make any. The time as well. And then I would assume that if Jay does start those starters, you're going in a completely different direction, correct?
You had a couple hitters lined up that I might have picked up, and I was thinking of some relievers as well to try to chase the relief appearances, but I don't think that would have worked either. So, hey, 2020's hindsight, right? So it was a great matchup. The whole week was just so much fun, back and forth. Yeah. Hats off to Jay, man. He really was just such an incredible opponent. That was probably the hardest matchup I had all year. He was just like relentless. The offense was good. There was no way I was catching up to him in most of these offensive categories. The walks were an anomaly. Michael Bush had 4 on Sunday. What is that? You know?
Yeah.
And
Never do that for me. He was good for 5 punchies when I would play him, but
Yeah. I mean, that was not expected. I had nobody starting on Sunday. I was like, okay, I got no offense, right? So I'll try to hang on to strikeouts. You know, the lineup is telling me to hang on to strikeouts because nobody's playing. So it was either like add 2 hitters after the bell if Jay starts those 2 guys, or roll with plan A. And I just kind of watched those innings, those 2 crappy pitchers, just get me a couple strikeouts and flip this thing. And I was going for 10-10, and the other 2 were kind of just a little bit of a bonus that wasn't expecting, but landed in my favor.
I tell you what, the 2 crappy pitchers we're going to talk about here in just a moment. Let's dive into Jay's moves for the week, and we'll discuss where he might have been able to get some more stats out of this thing. So he drops Angel Hernandez for Cole Sands, clean relief appearance. He drops Kyle Manzardo for Blake Trinan, a clean relief appearance. Drops Hunter Brown for Nolan Shanuel, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. He drops Spencer Horowitz for Wensil Perez, 1 for 3 with a run, an RBI, a walk, and a strikeout. He drops J.P. Crawford for Jose Suarez, 5 innings, an okay start in Chicago against the terrible White Sox. He drops Jose Suarez for Ranger Suarez, who was terrible against Washington. He dropped Nolan Shanuel for Jake Berger, 2 for 5 with a double, 2 RBIs, and a strikeout. And finally, on what looks like Sunday, drops Nick Martinez, Ranger Suarez, Bryce Miller, and Shota Imanaga to get Mackenzie Gore for a clean appearance against Philadelphia. 6 innings. Yeah. The aforementioned Logan Gilbert, who was unbelievable but on his bench, and Emerson Hancock, 5 1/3, 2 home runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 5.06 and a 169 against Oakland. For his MVP this week, it is, in fact, Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez, a 500 batting average and on-base percentage, 5 runs, 3 doubles, a triple, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, a steal, a walk, and only 1 strikeout. The least valuable hitter, disappointing season from Adley Rutschman overall. 217 average this week with a 250 on base. 2 runs, a double, 2 RBIs, a walk, and only 2 strikeouts. But overall in the season, Jason, this guy has not been what I think Jay drafted him in the second round to be.
No, 250 with 19 home runs, 79 RBIs. It's a nice season, but it's not second round material. And I can look back, but I'm pretty sure he was Jay's least valuable hitter multiple weeks this season. There were many weeks this season where this guy was his least valuable hitter, and it shows. It was a mediocre season. Probably better for the Orioles, as an everyday catcher, but not what you want from fantasy.
Him or Will Smith next year?
Oh, that's a good one. I probably stick with Adley.
Ben?
Okay, go Adley.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's a clean sweep. For Josh on his bench this week, Benjamin, he goes.
Well, should we do a Cy Young and Cy?
Oh yeah, we should do that.
That's why I'm here.
That's why he sits next to me. The Cy Young is going to be Nick Martinez. Despite the loss, had himself a pretty nice week. He had 8 innings, the loss, 3 strikeouts, a 1.13 and an 0.63. This probably could have gone to Mackenzie Gore, or it could have gone to Logan Gilbert as well for the Sunday start, had that been in the lineup. But this is a different story.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that he picked him up for the start, and it takes like cojones to actually like go for it at that point. And I think it was on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Friday. It was an 8-inning loss, and it was in Wrigley. A 1.13 ERA and a .63 with 3 strikeouts in the loss. But you take that shot going into Wrigley, that you never know really with pitchers there. It's Nick Martinez. I thought that was a really ballsy pickup and start, so I give him a lot of credit for taking that shot. Almost changed the whole thing.
Yeah. His Cy Young goes to Ranger Suarez, who, let's be honest, had a really nice first half and kind of tailed off into a tailspin in the second half, as the Phillies did as well. For this week, Ranger Suarez, if I could find him. Oh, there he is. 2 innings, the loss, a bomb, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a 27 ERA, and a 450 whip. Just not the start you wanted out of this guy, who was pretty much, with him and Shota Imanaga, they were really pacing the league early on.
Right, beginning until Paul Skeens joined him, and then it was like, all right, who has the best rotation in our league? Is it Josh or Jay? And that became the question. It was the two of them.
And the thing is, we saw it week after week, right? With Jay having these like microscopic 150 ERAs, and here he is in the finals with a 430. Not the week you want to have a blow up ERA after most of a season of having a sparkling ERA. So it gave Josh an advantage to get a 370 ERA to be better than Jay's.
Yeah, this was one of those disappointing weeks where you look at Jay's ERA and you say, what happened here? He just sort of laid an egg in the final on the pitching side.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, there was still some great starts he had in there, but like he's trying to go and chase and trying to boat race for innings, strikeouts, wins. I mean, at that point, it's all hands on deck. There's 7 days left.
Sure. On his bench this week for Josh Haber, Mr. Nisman, he goes 2 for 18.
Oh, wow. What the hell is 1 for 9? Is it 188?
No, it's 111.
111.
With a run, an RBI, a walk, and 5 strikeouts, he won that category by 4? 5. Exactly 5. Good job, Josh.
Oof. Well done.
For his moves this week, he started off the week dropping Kenley Jansen and adding Jose Alvarado for a clean relief appearance and Jackson Jobe for a clean relief appearance. He dropped Eduardo Rodriguez and Geraldo Perdomo, Jordan Walker, and John Brebbia for Cutter Crawford, Reese Olson, who was all right in his start against Tampa, and Byron Buxton 2 for 4 with a solo homer and a strikeout. You dropped Logan Gilbert for Leody Taveras over 4 with 3 strikeouts. That didn't work out, but that's all right because you dropped Reese Olson for Brennan Hannafy. I don't even know who that guy is, but he gave you a 2-inning relief appearance, and Reese Hoskins, who gave you a grand slam.
Yeah.
Against our Mets.
Against our Mets.
I don't remember who.
Hedging? Was that like you're going to pick up a guy who's playing against the Mets in case we lose?
Yeah, combined with the fact that I didn't have a good first baseman, I was just like, you know what? Let's just see what happens here. I knew I think Yandy was maybe like not playing that day or something. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, Yandy's another one that didn't have a good season this year.
No.
It'd be interesting to see what happens to him this upcoming season. Finally, we finish off the week dropping Adolis Garcia for those 2 shitty pitchers named Caleb Killian and Alec Marsh. Caleb Killian, 5 innings, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, nothing earned at home against Cincinnati. And Alec Marsh, 5 innings, a win, a home run, 2 strikeouts, a 180 and a 1 in Atlanta. For the record, they are Kansas City and Chicago Cubs pitchers, for those who don't know who these guys are, because to be honest,
no idea. I have no idea.
Two random scrubs at the end of the year give you 10 innings of 1-run ball with just enough strikeouts to get the win here, Josh. What was it about these 2 particular guys that drew you to them, and why were these guys to pick up?
Nothing. There's nothing. There was 100% the time of the game that was starting.
Yeah. Those were the only 2 guys.
It was waiting out. It was waiting out Jay. I was still expecting him to start those 2. He didn't, and those were the only 2 guys I could pick up after that. Those games started. So
yeah. There's one important thing to bring up when we talk about the ads here. It's a good time to bring it up, and it's that one name that is not mentioned here was the Sunday pickup prior to the matchup. While Joe and I are at Citi Field for the Mets' final home game, and Josh was able to really turn around that matchup against Joe. Josh still had one ad left, and it was to set up for the final. He went with Jordan Westberg, and at the time, I'm thinking to myself, my God, I think this is such a mistake. Like, you're facing Jay Ferraro. Like, you got to go to war in relief appearances right now, Josh. If you don't, you could step ahead and at least try to chase it down. He goes with Westberg, and I'm like, you just missed a golden opportunity. I got to say it, man. I said it to you, and I said it to him, and I'll say it again on this podcast. I was dead wrong, and everything that I thought that you had screwed up for this week, touche, you're the better man, and you are a well-deserved champion, because I thought you had missed a golden opportunity not picking up a reliever with your final ad. You go with this guy, and this guy did enough for you to win RBIs, okay? And if you don't pick him up, who knows what happens? Maybe you go in a completely different direction with that ad, and that guy ends up blowing up your ERA, or who knows? Everything changes based on that ad. It set you forward, and I just thought that was an unbelievable decision from you. The guy went 182 for the week and a 217 on base, 2 runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, but 4 stakes, and you needed them all. You needed that guy to get you RBI. So a lot of credit to you. He does get the 1 walk. You win that category by 1 as well. So as much as I thought that was a big mistake, man, it was extremely well scouted out by you.
No doubt.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
The MVP this week of all guys that we've been waiting for all season, Adolis Garcia finally has himself a week for you. 368 with a 400 on-base percentage, 3 runs, a double, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter goes to Ian Happ, 063 with a 286 on-base percentage, a run, a RBI, 4 big walks, and 2 strikeouts, with a shout out to Michael Bush's 4 walks on Sunday that gave you that category. That was an incredible appearance from that guy. Just to see him not having at bat, and here you are getting all these walks to take that category on a Sunday. Just absolutely insane.
Yeah, that whole Cubs game, I watched that whole thing, just what is happening right now?
Really?
This guy walk 4 walks. I don't know. The guy that strikes out a ton.
Yeah, you had a whole lot of stake in that game with Killian on the mound and Bush in the lineup and Happ in the lineup. There was a lot on that.
Yeah.
And by the way, Mookie Betts also had a really bad week, and 3 of those games were at Coors Field. So we should call out him too, because he did not show up this week.
A 150 average and a 190 on base, 1 run, 1 double, 2 RBIs, a walk, and a strikeout. Yeah, it's the number 2 pick overall in the draft in the final week. He's going 150, 190, and you're thinking between that guy going 150, Ian Happ having a .063 average. Really, besides Buxton, who didn't have that many at bats for you, and I guess Perdomo was helpful. Duran was helpful, sure. And then, of course, your MVP. There wasn't really a ton of offense coming out of Josh's team this week.
Fortunately for him, though, Jay was putting up a ton of batting average, but he wasn't slugging the ball very much. And we see a whole lot of doubles. We see 5 triples, but only 3 homers this week for Jay Ferraro. So Josh was able to run away with that category 6-3 in what was otherwise a really interesting offensive matchup. The Cy Young this week goes to
3
Jamie
triples
Bond.
from that Xavier Edwards guy. I think he had two triples in one game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I remember.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Like
Yeah. 5 triples in a week is unheard of, and yet still doesn't even touch the record.
Cy Young.
Cy Young is Shane Baz, 6 innings, a win, a homer, a walk, 7 strikeouts, a 3, and an 0.67. The Cy Yuck goes to Cutter Crawford, wherever he is. There he is, 4 1/3, a loss, a homer, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, a 12.46, and a 2.08. Yikes. Shout out to, again, Alec Marsh, Caleb Killian. Those 2 guys on Sunday really just choked out the every last little bit of it.
Yeah, they're the winning tickets to a championship right there. Those 2 guys.
Yep.
Like, I mean, for me, I always think about 2019, Ronaldo, Lopez, and 2021, it was a waiver pickup of Dallas Keuchel. I'm like, well, you always kind of remember those names. Like for you in 2020, Brady Singer, right? Like it's just they're guys that you might never like really hear from again or see again, but like on that Sunday to have a magical showing for a team, for a fantasy team, and it's for us, it's something very memorable. I was hoping maybe you could pull up one of the teams and I'll pull up the other, and we could go through day by day how it went. I could do Jay's and you could do Josh's, or however you want to do. But this is important to me because right off the bat, Jay had the lead. Jay won Monday, right? So do you have one of them?
Yeah, I got either one.
This is Monday?
Yeah.
All right. So I got Josh. So on Monday, Josh goes 5 for 18. It's pretty good. It's a 278, a 316 on base, 1 run, 2 doubles, a triple. He gets the triple on Monday. Think, okay, he's got a triple here, even though he's facing Jay. He's got a triple, though. He gets 1 RBI, a walk, 5 strikeouts, 278 and a 316. You're happy with it. It's the pitching. It was the pitching, and mainly it was a guy named Eduardo Rodriguez, where I'm thinking like, and I think also Josh with some emotional hedging starting Eduardo Rodriguez, us knowing that we were rooting against the Diamondbacks as Mets fans. So Josh is probably thinking, all right, I'll start Eduardo Rodriguez. If he's great, good for my fantasy team. If he's bad, good for the Mets. Fair?
Sure. I don't remember who he was pitching against, but
it was against San Francisco. He was nice enough to go 4 2/3 for the loss, 3 home runs given up, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, a 9.64 ERA, and a 2.14 WHIP. That was no relief appearances on that day, so that was your whole pitching line. You want to go into what Jay did on the offense and pitching side on Monday?
Jay hit 312 with a 353 on base percentage, 2 runs, 2 doubles, and an RBI, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Only had what looks like 4 guys going on that Monday, but Victor Robles really led the way with 1 double and 2 runs scored and a walk. On the pitching side, he goes 8 innings for a loss, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts, a 2.25 and a 1.25, and has Bryce Miller on the bench, as we talked about against Houston, for 7 shutty and the win.
Right. Even still with that bench start, it's fair to say that Jay won Monday.
Sure.
With that, with the fact that Josh had such a ballooned ERA at that point, and Jay had pitched nicely. Yeah. He already has a couple of relief appearances. He's got the lead there. Tuesday, Josh, he doesn't hit that so well on Tuesday. He actually hit better on Monday, but the on base was better. So he gets a 226 average, a 351 on base, 7 for 31. He gets 6 runs. That's nice. 2 doubles to match his 2 doubles for Monday. 3 RBIs, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. On the pitching side, he gets 3 relief appearances. He gets 9 full innings, a win and a loss. 3 home runs given up out of those 9 innings. Not ideal. A walk. 9 strikeouts over 9 innings. So he's going to strike out an inning, a 4 ERA, and a 1 WHIP. Respectable. A way to bring down what Eduardo Rodriguez did. Not ideal, but respectable on a Tuesday.
And he gave up 3 homers, you said, but
Yes.
only 4 earned over those 9 innings.
Correct.
So those are 3 solo shots,
or maybe one guy.
Yeah.
One guy on base.
All 3 of those was from Logan Gilbert.
Wow. Is that what? I mean, you said earlier that they were saying that he was done for the year. I guess after this start. Got a great season out of him, by the way. Got an unbelievable season out of him. Probably a top 10 pitcher next year.
Yeah, no, he like the rest of that Mariners staff, they all 5 of them. I mean, but what's funny about that is Bryce Miller was slated to start that Sunday, and then he got scratched for Logan Gilbert, who Jay ended up picking up.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday was when Yahoo said Logan Gilbert shut down, like he's done for the year. These are his final numbers, and that's when I made a bad move. But hey, whatever happened.
Not a bad move. If you put your name on the trophy, it's not a bad move.
Yeah. But no, that whole thing with Bryce Miller and Logan Gilbert, that was pretty crazy.
Jay on Tuesday hit 167 with a 250 on base percentage. He had 16 strikeouts to 4 walks, 2 RBIs, 2 doubles, and 5 runs scored. On the pitching side, not too much better here. 7 1/3, a loss, 2 homers, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, a 614 and a 150.
Right.
So things are starting to even.
And I remember going to Joe and being like, okay, we could say that Jay won Monday. I think we can both agree Josh won Tuesday. So now they're 1-1. Everything is pretty close. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? We go to Wednesday. Josh picks it up offensively. This is his best offensive day thus far. 10 for 34. 6 runs again. 2 doubles again. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, a 294 average, and a 333 on base.
Strong.
Very strong, especially those 3 homers, 7 RBIs. He continues to just score runs like crazy against Jay. And Jay with all those pesky, like Xavier Edwards, right? Like there's a ton of guys, Robles, just a ton of guys that are just annoying that'll score a bunch of runs.
Yep.
And Josh is keeping pace. On the pitching side, 5 1/3 for a win, a home run given up, 8 strikeouts, 3.33 ERA, so under a 3.5 ERA, and a 1.5 WHIP over 5 relief appearances. That was excellent.
Yeah,
solid day. He didn't throw 1 starter, but he did get a win out of those 5 relief appearances.
Yeah, it was a great day. Too bad Jay just blew it out of the water today. 367 with a 406 on base percentage on this day. 9 runs, 3 doubles. Here comes the first of 5 triples. 2
Xavier
homers,
Edwards,
5 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and no errors. On the pitching side, he pitches to a 2.61 ERA with a 1.06 WHIP, 6 relief appearances, 10 1/3. With 2 homers, 3 walks, and 13 big punches.
Jeez, yeah, and I'm probably thinking at that point, man, Josh had a really nice day, and Jay's was significantly better. Like Jay won Wednesday, and it's not even an argument. Like he just dominated on the hitting side. Okay, maybe he had 1 less home run, but like that was insane. He was just filled up the entire sheet, even got the steal, had a better ERA than a 3.38. And I'm thinking, I think Josh is done. Like I mean, I realize it's 2-1 in days, but Josh now needs to come back on Jay.
Big. So we go to Thursday, light Thursday.
Thursday is a light Thursday.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt, Ben. Is that the Mason Miller save on Wednesday, or was that Thursday? I just had to make a note of that because that was
as far as when. Did Jay get a save? Is what you're asking on Wednesday?
No, I got Mason. I got
went to Josh's team.
I got Mason Miller when he dropped him when he was playing in the semifinals.
Still not on the. He's on the team on Wednesday, but he does not come into the game.
Okay,
Wednesday.
All right. I thought it was either Wednesday or Thursday.
Into Thursday now, and here's to answer your question. Josh did have 7 hitters going on this light Thursday. He goes 5 for 31. 1 run, 6 RBIs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts for a very lethal 161 average and a 176 on base. On the pitching side, it's better. It's 8 1/3, a save, a walk, 11 strikeouts over 8 1/3, a 2.16 ERA, a .84 WHIP over 3 relief appearances, and yes, Mason Miller with an inning and a third save, 2 strikeouts, and 0-0 as far as the ERA and WHIP.
Really solid day from Josh there.
But on the pitching side,
the offense was a complete
miserable
mess.
Asleep.
And here comes Jay with a day of 381, 458 on the on-base percentage, 3 more runs, 3 more doubles, 3 more RBIs, a steal, 3 more walks, 5 strikeouts, and does take an error. And on the pitching side, only 3 relief appearances, 3 innings, 3 ERA, a 167 WHIP, a walk, and 2 strikeouts.
So wash maybe, or
probably on the pitching side. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably still lean and say that Jay won Thursday.
Oh yeah,
just because the offense was so significantly different.
Yeah.
And like what Josh did was he collected innings. Like he got 8 1/3. Jay only threw 3, but you're never really that. You're not thinking on Thursday about like, oh, who's going to win innings pitched or strikeouts at that point. There's so much more week to happen at that point that it's negligible. We're really only focusing on the offense, and maybe the save from Josh might come into play.
We go to Friday.
It doesn't get much better, folks. It's a 5 for 29 for Josh. That's a 172 batting average and a 200 on base. This is making me think of like what I was doing in 2021 final against Costas. Like every day felt like it was worse than the next. And Uncle Barry just said like, yeah, I kind of described that as a nightmare where you think like, when the fuck are these guys actually going to hit the baseball? It's 3 runs, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, a walk, 6 strikeouts, and an error. On top of that, 172 and a 200 on base on the final Friday of the 2024 season. However, the pitching, 5 scoreless innings, a .60 WHIP, 3 relief appearances, 1 strikeout, no walks, no home runs given up, no wins or losses, no decisions, no saves, but 5 scoreless innings. You feel a little bit better at that point. Maybe you can fight for ERA now.
Yeah, but the offense is gone. Jay comes out with a 343 and a 378, 5 more runs, a double, 3 more triples, 7 RBIs, a stolen base, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. He was nasty on this day.
That was Xavier Edwards, 3 triples, 4 RBIs, 2 runs scored in one day.
Did you have 3 in one day? Okay.
3 triples in one day.
Yeah, 3 triples in one day.
Insane.
Yeah.
I think 6 that was triples all goddamn season. This guy did 3 in a day.
I think that was the point where I was kind of like, offense is done. You know, this weekend I'm going to focus on the pitching, see what I can do to flip these things, flip some of these categories. You know, pick the stats I want to go after and go after them. And whatever happens on offense, there's nothing I can do. You know, it's maybe I'll grab something here or there, and I did, but yeah, with the average was over 100 points different, and yeah, I mean, it was I was giving up on the bats by Friday, the end of Friday.
For Jay's pitching on Friday, he does pitch to a 5.25 ERA and a 1.33 WHIP across 12 innings, 2 losses, a homer, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, 3 relief appearances. Ranger Suarez had his bad blow up in Washington here, but he also got the 8-inning loss from Nick Martinez in a 1-0 game in Wrigley.
Okay. So before we get to Saturday, let's just kind of put together what we've learned. Monday goes to Jay. Tuesday goes to Josh. Wednesday goes to Jay. Thursday, we said, basically goes to Jay. Friday, the pitching kind of fails Jay, but
the hitting is really, really
in his
good,
favor.
yeah.
So, like, I'll call that one a wash. I'll say that neither one of them wins Friday. Like, if you want to get super technical, but like, if anything, like, I would probably say Jay wins on Friday as well, because like he could still basically run out like innings and strikeouts. He's got enough ads at that point.
Mm-hmm. So we move to Saturday. Saturday for Jay Ferraro.
Oh, sorry. You're doing Jay? I'll do.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Jay Ferraro hits 361 with a 415 again. This is about the 5th day in a row he's fluttering the ball.
Didn't matter anymore.
5 runs, 5 more doubles, another triple just because. A homer, 5 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. Absolutely obliterates any chance that Josh has on the offense.
And now let's get into this absurd amount of pitching that occurred for Jay on Saturday, because I remember this, and I was thinking, Josh isn't done. He's well done at this point after Jay's pitching. But go ahead.
Jay throws 2 whole baseball games. That's 18 innings for you new kids. That's a loss with 4 bombs, 7 walks, 22 strikeouts over those 18 innings. With a 450 and a 122 whip, 6 relief appearances, it's fine. I would say it's fine to
right.
Yeah,
you would say it's fine, but then you'll listen to Josh's line on Saturday. It's 6 for 27. It's a 222 average. What did Jay have as a batting average on Saturday?
381.
Okay, so another one where he clips them by over 100 points in batting average. 361 to 222. A 344 on base is very nice. 7 runs you gotta love. 1 double, a homer, 3 RBIs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Now, you say it's fine for Jay Ferraro, and I agree, man. I agree. Josh throws 20 1/3, okay? He does get him in that category on that day. He does have 23 strikeouts, right on pace, right? A win and a loss, 3 home runs given up, 6 walks. We mentioned the 23 strikeouts, but Jay Ferraro had a 450?
Yeah.
Josh has a 5.75 ERA and a 113 whip. I'm sorry. Jay wins Saturday, okay? No matter how you slice it, Jay wins Saturday as well. Josh is up and against the ropes, man, because like he has to flip 2 now going into Sunday, and he's lost 5 days and won 1. Arguably, maybe he's won 2, right? And Jay has won 4. But no matter what, Josh does not win as many days as Jay in the 7-day loop. There's no way to argue it. And most of the time, whoever wins more days, especially in a playoff, wins the matchup. And at this point, you also talk about the weekend series, right? Like when you are playing through the season, you have the matchup Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It really all comes down to the weekend series. And if you win 2 out of 3 days, you typically win the matchup. At this point, Jay has won Friday and Saturday. He's won the weekend matchup. It's coming down to Sunday.
Of course,
Josh is down. He's up by how many RBIs? 1?
Going in?
Going in.
Going in.
Yeah, 1.
He has a 1 RBI lead. That could easily go to Jay, especially because, on Sunday, a lot of guys are going to get shut down. You don't know who's going to start. If anyone does start, they get taken out after 1 at-bat. You don't know, really. You can't really count on any guys to have 4 at-bats on a Sunday.
Right. Unless their team is playing for something. Like the Mets were, the Brewers were.
Diamondbacks, Braves. Absolutely.
So, but that number of teams is very small compared to the entire league.
Right. And you have to hope that you have some of those guys, or they're out there in free agency, or you have the ads left to use them. So there was so much going against Josh on this day. And a lot of it just comes down to Jay's like, nah, I'm too afraid of what? Home runs given up, the ERA that he wanted to protect. It seemed like arguably a missed opportunity there for Jay to just go for it, to just take that category. Losses finished at 5-3 in favor of Josh. Home runs given up in favor of Jay, 9-11. So there is, I understand the apprehension of being like, you know what? If I start these two guys, Josh shuts down the staff. I could lose home runs given up.
Could.
But if he shuts down, then Josh is going for the two pitchers and then probably taking innings and strikeouts. So it's a double-edged sword. It's a catch-22. I think I still start the pitchers if I'm Jay.
He probably should have. I mean, he had 3 relief appearances and 2 innings with a 9 ERA and a 1 on the day. So 2 earned runs over those 2 innings, a walk and 3 strikeouts. But like we talked about, he benched 10 2/3, a win and a loss, only 1 homer and 11 strikeouts.
So what about his offense on that Sunday?
It's another crazy day. 286 with a 333, 3 runs, a double, an RBI, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts.
Like really, like what the actual man? Like that is absurd. The amount.
And he benched Xavier Edwards, who went probably 2 for 4 with a run scored. So it's another 500 and 500 on the bench.
Yeah, and then of course like Jose Ramirez with his 500 batting average and didn't even play on Sunday because the game got rained out and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
For Josh, let's start with the offense because we know about the pitching and how it won the championship. The offense on Sunday, guys.
Wasn't any.
Two for 16. 1 run, 2 RBIs, the 5 walks, 4 of them from one guy, 5 strikeouts, a 1.25 ERA, and a 3.33 on base. 13 innings pitched, the win, the save, 1 home run given up, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts over the 13 innings, a .69 ERA, a 1 whip over 3 relief appearances. Did Jay win Sunday as well? Like, I mean, we know he didn't, but it was really just Josh Haber playing to the score for the final couple of days, and you played it like a fiddle, man. I've never seen anything like that where I was convinced for days and days that Jay was the champion. And I don't know about my fellow co-hosts. I don't know about your brother, Mike Haber, what he thought going through all this. But before this matchup even started, when we were breaking down the semifinal, I was alone. I picked Jay Ferraro to win this matchup. And Joe, Jay, Mike Haber, they all had Josh Haber. It's his season. This is him. Like the magic is finally happening. Josh Haber, he's been in the league 18 years. He was in the finals last year against his brother. He gets back to the finals, much like a Kansas City Royals of 2015. I'm sorry to bring it up, but like it's so hard to get to the final, let alone 2 years in a row, and then pull it off. I didn't see it coming. I kind of felt like throughout this matchup, I just was, and I think even you had nodded your head, and yeah, it looks like based on the numbers, a lot needs to happen over these last couple of days in order for Josh to win.
Definitely going into Sunday, I was feeling like, okay, this might be it. The offense is pretty blown out. The pitching is close, but it'll take something happening, some big flips on Sunday in order to make it happen. Josh, we're going to open up the floor here for you, man. This is your opportunity to gloat and take all of the time you want to soak in the championship, my friend. It's an amazing year. We are incredibly proud to call you our 2024 Bigs champion.
Thank you. I was hoping you would compare the comeback on Sunday to a certain Pete Alonso home run in Milwaukee. Just when the odds are against you and you're, backs up against the wall. And that's how it was the whole week. And I knew that if I was going to pull this thing off, it was going to have to be sneaky, flipping a couple of stats. I wasn't going to do it with offense. And yeah, stick with the biggest thing I learned this season is like when you go into Sunday and you have a plan, you gotta stick to it. And if you overthink sometimes and you try to do too much, that's when you get tied up and one stat goes one way you didn't want it to, and another stat goes a different way. But go with your gut on Sunday, make your move, stand behind it. I think that's what carried me through this year. And yeah, I mean it's been awesome. Joe, the previous matchup with you was incredible as well. I think that was pretty close all the way till like the end of Sunday. I think we were like 10-10 all day Sunday until that Phillies game. And I mean, it was just so much fun to watch every Sunday night, watching all these matchups and seeing the scores flip back 11-9, 10-9, 10-9, 10-10. Just wild. All 16 managers just like so engaged, so into it. I'll never forget the season. It was just so much fun.
Josh, was there ever a point where you're like, it doesn't look like it's going to happen this year, whether it was against whether it was against Joe in the semis, whether it was against Jay in the final? Like, what was that point where it was just like the darkest moment, if you will?
Jay in the final on Saturday. I said I got 2 ads left. I have one more move of desperation. And I came up with that. I looked at all the start times on Saturday night. I said this is the last 2 moves I can do. This is the last 2 shots I have. And the chances of it working out were not great. I mean, the ERA could have gone in a different direction. He should have taken those RBIs. He had a lot more guys playing. That was kind of a miracle. I was playing for the tie, for the 10-10, because I had the tiebreaker, which if you go back and look at that matchup is also insane because he had me on the ropes during the regular season also, and I pulled that off 10-9 on a Sunday night. So, I mean, it just goes to show every little thing. Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah. It's nuts. I was playing for that tie, flipping the innings and strikeouts, and but there was no guarantee. And I don't know who these 2 guys are.
Of course not. And they could just get rocked in the first inning, and their managers are like, you know what, this isn't worth it to do this to this poor guy. Like that could absolutely have happened. And then what? You're looking for hope of pulling off walks, holding on to RBIs. That was a category that was kind of going back and forth all day between the 2 of you. So yeah, it was just for Joe and I, like obviously we're at the edge of our seats watching that Mets Brewers game, sure, but like our eye was absolutely on Alec Marsh being like against the Braves for multiple amount of reasons, but just like why is this guy shutting them down right now when the Braves are in a must-win situation? Like he gave up the 1 bomb and then like it was just shut down. He was just like, and he kept on coming out. He's like, oh my God, he's going out for another inning. I can't believe it. He's actually going to win innings pitch, barring that Jay's relievers don't come in and help him out. And it was just like not happening really. Important things to point out. Josh, you were 3rd in ERA in the entire league with a 3.67 ERA. My co-host here with the 2nd best at 3.62. And yes, Jay Ferraro did have the best ERA of the league with a 3.26. Also very important to note, Jay Ferraro had a 112 whip. That was the best of anyone in the bigs. Josh Haber, 1.13.
Oh, wow.
112, 113 for 1st and 2nd. So that was absolutely crazy. Both of you easily had the 2 best pitching teams. I mean, sure, maybe arguable, but I don't know. The fact that, let's see, we got Josh with 8-16 in innings pitched against opponents, 12-8 in wins, 15-6 with 3 ties and losses, 18-4 in saves with 2 ties, 18-6 in home runs given up, 22-2 in walks given up.
Get the hell out of here with that.
5-18 with 1 tie in strikeouts, 17-7 in ERA, 20-4 in WHIP, and 14-8 in relief appearances with 2 ties. Over to Jay, 8-17 in innings pitched, 10-13 in wins with 2 ties, 13-11 in losses, 13-10 in saves, 14-10 in home runs given up, 15-10 in walks given up, 10-15 in Ks, 16-9 against opponents in ERA, 14-11 in WHIP, 11-14 in relief appearances. Kind of a mixed bag, a little more over 500 than under 500, but we remember 8 winless weeks in a row for Jay Ferraro. That has something to do with it. Still, when you look at the actual numbers of ERA and WHIP, I don't doubt, like, to me, these were the 2 best pitching teams all season. And I thought that's what made this final so special. It was going to be like, who is going to outpitch the other? And if that doesn't make the difference, who's going to outslug the other one? Well, we know which hitting came to play. And at that point, it was like, well, then they probably go kind of even Steven on the pitching. Jay should win the matchup. But I guess that's what I'd say I'm fairly proud of as far as like how the league is structured, the format of it, and that like even when these things happen, that doesn't necessarily mean you will win the week.
One question I have for you, Josh, as now you've played 2 straight years all the way to the end, every single week and having ads back and forth. The one thing that we discussed as the season was winding down, especially watching that final week, was that there were so many guys who were sitting out. And there was the spitball idea of, should the year be shortened 1 week by the regular season so that we don't have those things at the end of the year and we still have teams that are trying to play for everything in the playoffs instead of benching 3/4 of their team and playing a bunch of scrubs in the final week? I wanted to get your thoughts on it, having played all the way to the end 2 years in a row and using those moves as you had to for this scenario.
Yeah, and if I can follow, I know he just gave you a lot, but with that, as well as the fact that you had 12 ads last year, 10 ads this year. So the full season and less ads, tell me how you feel about all of that and how it works.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't change a thing. I think it makes it harder that last week in the finals. And I think that should be the hardest week. You made it this far. It's just another challenge. It's not an advantage to either team, really. You don't. I mean, I guess someone that has a lot of Dodgers or a lot of, you just don't know. You don't know which teams are going to still be playing, which who's going to be benched. But I think that challenge just makes it better. I think that being able to drop your studs pitchers in the middle of the week. It's kind of reflective of what happens in the actual MLB is like the rules kind of go out the window and you have to roster your staff accordingly. So I don't know. I think I think it works.
Maybe it then that allows guys like Caleb Killian and Alec Marsh to be kind of the unsung hero of a championship season.
Yes. I mean, I'd have to agree. Like, I know it was the week 24 when you and I faced each other in 2019, but like a guy like Shed Long, who you never hear of for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Like that guy, like, okay, it's a light Thursday. He's starting. He's batting 6th. It's a crappy pitcher. Sure, let me go get him. I have the ad. But another thing that is, it goes to what you were saying, Josh, as far as like being able to be prepared for that kind of matchup, knowing that a lot of guys will get shut down. And obviously you and I were talking about that. Even if you got through, Josh, the fact that the Phillies had clinched, you might have been in big trouble.
Oh yeah.
Just the fact that a lot of those guys were either not going to be playing or playing for nothing.
Oh, sure.
But that you worry about that once you get there.
Yeah.
You got to structure your team the way you think you'll get to the playoffs and worry about the playoffs when you get there.
Exactly.
But the other thing that's important to mention is that it should be known that Josh did have an ad to use on Sunday. He could set up for the week after, right? So like he played his ads perfectly against you so that he still had one, whether it had been Jordan Westberg or a reliever or a starting pitcher for the next day, right? He had one left. And then with that, we also know by watching Jay over his entire Bigs career and this year, Jay's an aggressive manager. Like he was more than likely going to run out of ads before Josh. And Josh knew that. So like he could, and Josh is a little bit less aggressive. I mean, you're a bit more of a conservative manager that can kind of watch and play off what the other guy does. So that was one situation where you'd say, you know, Josh has an advantage because Jay is going to be more aggressive. So I thought that was really fascinating in the whole thing. Also, the fact that Eduardo Rodriguez has the bad start on Monday, and then you're like, screw that guy, no reason to have him. But if you hold on to him on Saturday, then he has the unbelievable start. And I'm like, oh, that's the one you needed. That's the one you needed, Josh, in order to win. That's the one. And you didn't hold on to him, you idiot. And that was what you needed to win the championship.
Wasn't he in Coors Field? No, I don't know. I don't remember where he was, but
No, it was the final weekend.
No, they were at home. They were at home.
They were at home.
And they were against the Padres.
Right.
Okay.
The Padres that weren't playing for anything. But like, again, dude, it's just another example of me thinking like, my God, like, I can't believe Josh keeps doing this. He's like losing his matchup for himself. And like, the joke's on me, man. Like, you played me. You played everyone in this final. You did an unbelievable job. Most deserving champion I could think of. And I know that it's not on here yet because I haven't gotten a chance to go out there and bring it to the guy. But there he is, Mike Haber and Josh Haber. The brother will go right underneath his younger brother to start off this block. So it was a year in 2023 where I felt like that was a missed opportunity, and all I have to do is one thing, and then I'm probably beating Josh in that final with the way that your team performed on that Sunday. But things happen for a reason, and the fact that the two Haber brothers are beginning this block, it's poetic. It's something that we can say 20 years from now and be like, yeah, the Haber brothers, you know, they went back to back in 23 and 24, and we'll be in our 60s by then, but like we will always remember these years.
Absolutely.
Final thoughts, Jason Ashby.
Dude, all I can say is congratulations. You have won a championship more recently than the Mets have. So, Mazel tov, congratulations. Well played.
Thank you. I knew I wasn't getting both. I'm like, as soon as I won this, I was like, there's no way I can get a Mets World Series too. The baseball gods don't love me that much. But
They got damn close though.
They did.
Damn close. That was a hell of a ride.
It was. It was
a hell of a ride.
And yeah, awesome. Well, yeah. Again, thank you guys for everything you've done with the podcast, and you know, just it really does. Like I'm out there driving all day, so it's awesome to have every week this stuff to listen to, and I'd love to come on the show again at some point for sure.
Hell yeah!
I can't wait for your rankings for 2025. Whatever other ideas you have cooking up, I can't wait to hear it.
We've got a ton of ideas cooked up for this off season.
Yeah, man. And if you're a superstitious guy, and I think you are to some extent, and it was like, you know what, I'm not going to go on the show until it's official. And now no more curse, man. Like it happened. Like it's broken. Like you could come and join the show anytime. And it's a pleasure to have you. And I'm grateful to have you because I know there were times when you were a Bigs member where it was impossible for you to really keep up, whether it was, when you were working in the restaurant, you weren't allowed to have your phone, or even like in the early 2000s where we had to
need a computer.
I mean, there was no smartphone. And like, if you weren't near a computer, like you weren't active. Like that's just the way it was, and it's important to say, like in 2010, I told Josh, take a year off, like take this year off, chill, like worry about what you got to do. You know what I mean? And then he came back in 2011. There was more activity, and then it was a little bit, back and forth. And then we know where it started. It started in 2020 on that shortened year where we had divisions, and all of a sudden, like, Josh beats me in the first week, and it's like, shit, like, this dude just like ended my season after I won a championship. That's quick. Thanks. Of all freaking people, I'm like, sweet, Josh is in my division. This should be nice. Nope. Then in 2021, first time in 15 years, the guy gets to the playoffs. He loses to Costas in the first round. 2022, he had a nice over 500. No, he was just under 500, but he was fighting the whole entire time. Yeah. He faced me in the final week in week 22 in the year 2022. Didn't get in, but very, very close. 2023, he gets the finals. He beats this guy in the semis and then loses to his brother in the final. And then he comes back the following year. And I'm thinking the chances of him beating Joe Schubert in a semifinal 2 years in a row is less likely than me getting struck by lightning. And sure enough, like it happened, you know, and that's, I think, when Joe and Jason and Mike were committed to say, like, how could he lose in the final? Like, after doing that 2 years in a row, he still had one big hurdle to climb.
No doubt.
Jay Ferraro, a two-time champion, back-to-back. Jay had taken a couple years off. We talked about how Jay Ferraro had, you know, over time takes 2 years off at a time, 3 years off at a time. He comes back in 2019. He comes back in 2021, makes the playoffs, loses to Joe in the first round, then takes 2 more years off, comes back in 2024, wins 2 rounds in the playoffs after not having a win for 8 weeks, gets to the final. Like, I had Jay winning it. It felt like destiny for Jay. And Josh, I mean, you blew us all away with your management, with the composure through this week, where you look at what we talked about day after day after day, where I counted you out basically after Wednesday. Unreal job. I mean, there's nothing else to say, but this is one of the most incredible finals, incredible challenges that someone had to overcome in a final to become a champion.
Thank you, sir.
Much appreciated. It's a memorable season, no doubt. It will be one that goes down in the all-time record books and has already gone into our actual record book as one of the greatest seasons that's ever happened. That puts a bow on the 2024 season. We crown our new Bigs champion, and we move to the off season. Jason, we have a ton of stuff lined up for this off season. We've got a draft review that you've got. We've got a team review that you've got lined up. Rankings will be coming, I promise. Those are fairly close.
Hell yeah.
I got a Hall of Fame discussion going on. We got plenty of content for this winter, so buckle up, guys.
Yeah, the off-season acquisitions are some for us, like some of the most fun times of the year, like the winter meetings and everything. And I'm really proud of my consolation bracket win. Congratulations, buddy. Shut up. I'm so proud to be part of this league. I'm so proud of you guys. So this is it's special. Like it's been such a special season. And every year we talk about, like, oh, I'm so glad that we have this hobby that's an escape for us. This podcast is like a therapeutic forum that we could all vent and let it all out. You know that I've done plenty of that this year, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. So from the bottom of my heart, guys, I'm speaking to you guys and to the rest of the league. Thank you so much for making this league so special and making it what it has been and what has become for 20 years.
Guys, that's it. 20 years, and we move to number 21 next year. I can't wait for all of the off-season content we've got and building toward the 2025 draft. It's going to be a crazy year. We're going to talk about whether or not we have all 16 returning year over year for the first time as well. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. And it is always real fun in the Bigs. We'll see you next time.